American dream. I've got to do this. It's like, it doesn't have to be hard.
It's the ego.
It doesn't have to be hard. Like everyone wants to see you succeed. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of people in this room, it's like, I imagine each of these people, like they could lean on us for support and I would want to offer them support. Like you guys need a place to crash, like come and stay, but we don't feel that like, oh, but I don't want to be a burden.
Word of caution, not caution, but just something to be mindful of. It tastes like rocket fuel.
Do I need to
because it works like rocket fuel.
Shake this? No, it's just already pre-shaken.
Yeah, let's cheers.
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 Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be way worse. I'm gonna be honest. When you said rocket fuel, I'm like, dude, this is gonna like burn down my throat like oil.
I say that because people have had like crazy reactions to it, and it's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's really fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good stuff. If you guys want the hookup on Ketone IQ, use code CaptainMorgan_20. All right, now let's dive into this conversation with Dr. Matt Shiver. Do you like being called doctor?
I sign off on my emails and like in like marketing material, but like I never like entered. Maybe when I speak, I may say Dr. Matt, or someone will introduce me as, oh, Dr. Matt. And
well, it gives that extra level of like authority.
It does.
Like if you have that doctor.
Oh, it totally does. If I make tweet posts on Instagram a lot, they're really just Canva posts that look like tweet posts. But because there's doctor, like I legit have had someone book a call with me. They're like, yeah, I saw the word doctor, so I automatically associated you knew something. And like she booked a call and became a client. It was like legit just the doctor she told me was the reason that she clicked the ad. It's like, cool.
Do you suffer with stress, anxiety, trouble sleeping? If so, you could be part of the 80% of people who don't get enough magnesium in their diet. Most supplement brands use cheap, low-quality ingredients at ineffective doses. Bioptimizers goes all in on their formulations, combining 7 different forms of bioavailable magnesium. That's why I recommend Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers.
I feel like most people, they just blindly trust whatever a doctor says, right? Which we don't have to go down this whole conversation, but how do you feel about that?
100%, man. I mean, to be even a doctor of physical therapy, you just need to be good at taking tests. You need to learn, like be good at learning and being able to like reiterate, just like, take information and apply it the way that the teachers want it to be applied. But like, man, like in PT school, I mean, I love my classmates, but I remember there was a time, there was about 75 people in my class. And there was like a burnout lecture that someone came in and talked about burnout. And she like had us raise our hands. She's like, who in here actively works out regularly? Like as much as they'd like to. Like I put my hand up, and in a class of 75 people, there was only one other person that put their hand up.
What?
Out of the rest of the 75 people. And
in
the profession of like, we're going to use exercise as a way to help people get out of pain and be healthier. And I was like, y'all, are y'all serious? Like, I understand you're in PT school and it's hard, right? Like, but it's not really that hard. And like, can you still not prioritize yourself? Like, how are you going to help your like clients and future patients prioritize their health when they get overwhelmed? Like, this is not okay, So no, like just because someone has a doctor, behind their name doesn't mean that they practice what they preach, which I think is extremely important. For me to take advice from anybody, it's like, if you ever went to like in middle school and you had a fat, like football coach telling you to do burpees and sprints, you're like, dude, you go do burpees and sprints, man. Yeah. So yeah,
you got to look the part.
Yeah. You got to look the part and be the part,
Be the part. That's where it is. So you went to Duke, correct?
Yeah.
For physical therapy. Okay. Was it worth it?
Oh,
because you had what, over $100,000 in student loans by the end of it?
I did. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to say yes, because I definitely wouldn't have made the connections, right? So it's hard to say, like, there's a few things that I learned that were super valuable that I still apply. One was definitely the connections that I made, like being in the Raleigh-Durham area. If I wasn't in school or in the classroom, I would just get in the car and just network. And I just like go drive and shadow people who were doing either things online or they were like really good physical therapists that I could just learn from. So being that, I had Duke, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill all being in the same area. And then also Greensboro, where there were some more performance coaches. I would just spend time just like traveling and networking and meeting new people. And that's where I met Mark from Enlifted, and Mike. They came and they did a seminar at Travis Mash's gym in 2018. And I was one of Travis's coaches. And that's like what introduced me to like Enlifted and all the language stuff, and also like Strong Coach. But I wouldn't have had that experience if I wasn't in that area. So I'd say one, again, the location, and then two, the critical thinking and problem solving skills. Like we learned how to read research, we learned the scientific method, and that's super helpful in even the work that I do now as like a coach or business coach, of like picking the low hanging fruit, controlling variables, seeing, what cause and effect happens when we make one small change while keeping everything else the same. So I still am structured to think that way when it comes to problem solving, in a way that's very systematic, input output. And that was just from like all the classwork and learning how to read research and stuff like that. So I'd say the problem solving skills and the connections that I made, definitely worth $100,000. I mean, yeah, because even now, like I spend tens of thousands of dollars every year learning more and like being part of mastermind groups, etc. And do those connections that I make now, are they better? Probably, but like the mindset and the skill set I have around thinking that I learned while in school, I would pay $100,000 again for sure.
That makes sense. Over $100,000 in student loans. You're going to school for physical therapy. You find that you don't like it as much as you thought you would. A lot of people in that situation would continue down that path because that's what they decided. They're already invested. They're in it, right? So you didn't go that route. You decided to follow your heart and chase excitement. What brought you to that decision? Like, was there a specific moment, or what led up to that?
Yeah, there's a few things that led up to that. Like while I was in PT school, I'd started online coaching. So I was already like coaching people online, and like helping a lot of my classmates like learn how to move. And I just had so much fun programming. So I was an exercise programmer, like, and did some nutrition support too. But I was doing that while I was in PT school. So like while a lesson would be up on like pediatric, which is like kids, or neuro, which is like the brain and like spinal cord and like stroke, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm just not super interested in this. So I would just be on my laptop, just like programming and like working with people online. And I was just having so much fulfillment with it. And I realized while I was in school, I was like, man, I could like keep doing this. I could keep working online, having the time and financial flexibility and freedom. Or I could go work 9 to 5 in an insurance-based clinic where the insurance doesn't give a shit about the person and their health. Like it didn't feel good. And I just was like, I don't want to see somebody for 15 minutes, hand them off to a college student to like have them do the same exercise everybody else does. So like, I just saw the inside of the current model of physical therapy, and I just didn't believe in it. I was like, no. And then the other option of that was doing like a cash pay. So, someone pays you for an hour of your time, and, during that time, you just treat them as needed. And I did get into that a little bit, but even then I didn't like being location bound. And I saw that like coming out. I was like, if I take a job, it doesn't matter if it's in the perfect clinic or not, I'm going to be location bound. I'm going to be working 9 to 5 or maybe earlier, and I'm going to be stuck in one town, and it's going to be hard for me to travel and leave. And
I have to ask permission to take a vacation.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do that, man. So I knew that. And there was definitely times throughout PT school where I remember one time I just broke down on one of my rotations. My clinical instructor at the time was like, you got to go see the next patient. I'm like, well, this person's like opening up to me. Like, I need to like stick with this person. He's like, no, we have to go see the next person because they're coming in. It's their scheduled time. And I'm like, I froze for sure. And then like, I remember I got emotional. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like I got so mad. I was so mad at the system. And I was like, this is not okay. Like what the people are paying, and they're there and they want support, but because of the model that we have, we can't support them at the fullest level. So ultimately, that all of that just led to me not wanting to continue and explore that and get more into the online space.
What do you think it is about you that led you to make that decision? Because a lot of people are in that same situation or very similar situation, and they continue to put up with it over and over again. And they make these excuses and have self-limiting beliefs on why they can't go and do their own thing. So what do you think it is about you?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it does come down to people's relationship to money is a big part of that, because like I see time and attention being the number one resource or resources that we have,
Yes.
right? Money, like regardless if you're an entrepreneur or if you work for someone else, like it replenishes every month, right? It's like every month, if I'm having clients, they should pay me again. If I'm in a normal business, I have a 9-to-5 job, it keeps replenishing. But time and attention doesn't. So knowing that and seeing that, I'm like, oh man, well, if time and attention are my most valuable resources, how do I want to devote those? Do I want to devote them working a 9-to-5 because I spent time and attention in the past doing it? That doesn't make any sense, you know? So I think that was like the mindset shift that I had that allowed me to, go on my own.
Yeah. And I imagine you and I are similar in this. One of my core values is adventure. And so if I were tied down to a physical, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Fist bump for that.
Yeah.
Adventure. Let's go. There's so much excitement in being able to do what you love from wherever you are, right? Like, why would you want to be stuck inside an office building for this amount of time? Like, to me, I will never go back to having somebody else be in charge of how I spend my time and where I am. Like, I'm going to go where I want to go when I want to go there, right? Okay. So,
also, this ketone, I'm starting to feel it. I'm like, damn, what is that?
Right?
I'm like, whoa.
Buzzing.
Yeah.
Brain gets turned on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't pay him to say that, guys.
No.
Like, this stuff's legit.
What you put into your body today is the foundation for who you become tomorrow. That's why I fuel with Ketone IQ from HVMN. They're redefining the limits of human performance, metabolism, and longevity. I use Ketone IQ before every podcast to keep my mind sharp and clear. Head over to hvmn.com and use code CaptainMorgan_20 to get yours today. Back to the show.
Thank you, HVMN, for sponsoring. All right. What advice would you give to people who are in that position, who know that they want something different and they're on the fence? They're scared. What I find is that a lot of times they're scared of the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Because right now they're living a very certain life, the certainty of misery, right? They don't like what they're living, but it's routine. They know what's going to happen. But if they quit that and start something new, it's uncertain.
Yeah.
So what advice what got you through that? And then what advice would you give to somebody else?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was like the support that I had from my family. So like my mom was like super supportive of it. And like, right as I graduated school, she's like, if you need to stay at home, like while you do this, you can. So having that support was really critical for me. So I imagine too, is to make sure you're part of a community that's supportive. Like, I mean, I have friends who feel that same way. And I'm like, if you need a place to crash for a few weeks, like you can stay at my place. Like I know that, but they may not hear that and like accept that, but ultimately you do need support, because when you go into the area of like, this unknown, you want some sort of security or safety. And, if it's not financial, which I think a lot of people like, that's a big reason. Oh, I want financial, consistency, whatever. But having that support from friends and family and communities is massive.
Is that one of the main things that allowed you to make the transition?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, my mom was super supportive. And then even like while I was so like when I graduated PT school, I immediately started working on an online business, and it was serving like first responders. That was the audience the demographics we were serving. And then at the same time, some of my partners also owned a PT clinic. So I did have a part-time PT gig where I was working like maybe 10 hours a week on the side as a contractor. So that was also part of the support, was like, me and that other practitioner were doing it together. And I think oftentimes too, getting started when you're an entrepreneur, like if you want to go out and do something else, And sometimes you feel lonely, right? Like, so like having the support, like I said, of my mom, friends and family, but also having like a business partner or it could be a business coach too. It doesn't necessarily matter if it's a partner or a coach. The difference is they're a partner and you have an exit, you got to buy them out. But like a coach, you spend a few grand and like, you get coaching, which looking back, I think that probably would have been a better move, but like, whatever. But I do recommend having that support, both friends, family, and then as well as like professionally, whether that's coaching or somebody that's just on the same path and direction as you.
Was that difficult for you to receive support from friends and family?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. I ask because I've struggled to receive in the past, like compliments or gifts. Like I always rejected and like, no, thank you. And things like that. So you mentioned, people, if they are transitioning, if they have a community and people offer these things to them, they could reject them because they feel like they have to do it on
themselves.
their own.
Yeah. That's like that independence of like, I got to do this by myself. It's very American in a way. Like, like it's very like American dream. I've got to do this. It's like, it doesn't have to be hard.
It's the ego.
It doesn't have to be hard. Like everyone wants to see you succeed. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of people in this room, it's like, I imagine each of these people, like they could lean on us for support and I want to offer them support. Like you guys need a place to crash, like come and stay, but we don't feel that like, oh, but I don't want to be a burden, Yeah.
So let's talk on the importance of community because this is huge. This is something that I've noticed, especially over the past few years. There's now an epidemic of loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
So how important is community for just emotional well-being? Like going back to what we were talking about on how, people think that they have to do it all on their own and, the ego. How important is community? And if you have any specific examples of when you were feeling lonely or out of place, maybe, how has community affected you and your transition into what you do now?
Yeah, I think loneliness, when we think of loneliness, it's like we feel like we're doing something by ourselves. Like we're going through an experience that no one's experienced. That's kind of what we imagine when we're lonely, right? But if you can surround yourself with other people who've had that same experience before, then you kind of you don't feel that feeling anymore. So it's a lot of it's around experience. So like if I'm trying to grow a business and I'm not part of a mastermind group, it could feel like I'm all by myself. I'm like, what in the world? Do people even want my stuff?
Yeah.
What's a lead? What's a sale? What are good normal numbers and stuff like this? Like, I don't know, but that's where if you're around a bunch of other people that are also, I don't want to say struggling, but that, who are also going through that experience and they're all emotionally charged, or not charged is the best word, but they're all feeling similar feelings, then it almost normalizes the experience so that it doesn't feel lonely anymore because we're all sharing this common feeling or we're all sharing this common goal, drive, experience to where we don't feel lonely anymore because we're all open and talking about it, which is another part of that community is like having a community that's open-minded to talking about struggles or things that we're feeling. Because like I'm in some part of some business mastermind groups where everyone's like, yep, everything's good. It's like bullshit, bro. You're things aren't all good.
Yeah.
There's things that are broken, but you're just, but if you can be part of groups that are like, hey, I'm really struggling with this. And that's affecting my personal life this way. And like just being real with people and having those communities where these open dialogues and conversations are accepted and like encouraged.
Yes.
It like makes such a big difference, man.
Especially with men. I don't know if you've experienced this, but for the longest time, I was that person who felt like I had to do it all on my own and would not open up about what I was feeling, or even, I didn't even really know what I was feeling because I just kept everything suppressed and like put on this,
body armor. Like I'm a strong man. I got this shit. Like
exactly this false bravado. So did you ever experience that?
I would say before I got into business, yes. Like I did when I was an athlete. I say athlete with my air quotes right now, if you can see this. But when I was competing in weightlifting, I definitely did. Like I was just beat up, like knee hurt, back hurt, elbow hurt, everything kind of hurt. But I was just like, it's all right. I'll still go train. This is part of the sport. So I did experience some of that, but when I got into business, I was very humble from the start. And I also joined, I joined the communities like Enlifted and Strong Coach pretty early on. Like I didn't go through Enlifted, but I've just been a part of that like community.
Mhm.
And yeah, like just early on, like that was my first business coach was like, all right, we're going to talk about like goal setting and mantras and stuff like that. So like a lot of that stuff just kind of melted away. And I actually joined, when I joined my first, I hired Mike as my business coach and went through the Strong Coach, was like, I was there because I was like, I want to get to here with my business. And then I got in there, I'm like, oh, none of this shit really matters, like, so I never experienced the business, but I did experience it like training and stuff like that.
Do you think that's because you went to school for PT and you were learning, or you felt like you already knew a lot about the training aspect of things, and then when you transitioned to business, you're like, I'm new to all this, like help me learn? Because that's what it was for me. Like when I was training, I was like, I felt like I knew it all, which of course I didn't. So that kept me in the mentality of, hey, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
But then now that I got into business, it's been coach after mentor after program, like learning, asking questions, opening up. Do you think that's similar?
It's definitely similar.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And just embracing being a newbie at this stuff. Like when I graduated, I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I got an idea, what's a lead, what's a sale? How much money should I charge? I had some, but I was just so open to like, just give me all the information.
Yeah.
But you're right. And I'm curious too, now that we say that, but with training, I wasn't. It was like, I know it all, so I'm just going to keep training. I wonder I hope this doesn't happen, but like looking, 10 years down the road, well, I aspire to still be as open as I am now, or as open as I was when I started. I think it can change with time. It shouldn't, but it's easy for it too, right?
We can't learn what we think we already know. Yeah. Go into it with a beginner's mind, curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite ways to protect myself from EMFs is swimming in the ocean. And even when I can't, I'm still protected with my Aries Tech LifeTune Flex. It protects me from the oxidative stress caused by electromagnetic radiation that can cause things like headaches, fatigue, and trouble sleeping. To get yours, head to ariestech.com and use code Captain Morgan. That's ariestech.com, use code Captain Morgan. All right, back to the show.
With that, let's talk about the importance of coaching.
Yeah.
Coaching for me has literally changed my life.
How many coaches have you had? I'm curious.
Oh man.
You can be like, because I imagine you probably have had business and like training or fitness and stuff like that.
I'll give a range. I'll say 5 to 10. I don't want to like think and like count, but at least 5 to 10.
Business or just everything?
Oh man. Well then definitely closer to 10 if we're talking everything.
Yeah.
Like fitness, for sure. That's where it started, is hiring a personal fitness coach when I was training for CrossFit. And then once I decided that I no longer wanted to compete in CrossFit or be a CrossFit coach and wanted to do my own thing, that's when the business coaching started. So yeah, ever since then, I've been a part of some coaching program, mastermind, something like that. Because of course I'm biased because I am a coach, but if you have a coach who understands your roadblocks, the obstacles that you're facing, and has overcome them and knows how to help you overcome them, it makes no sense to me. Well, it does. I get it, but it's ridiculous how people say that they can't afford that. Right. Yeah. So I have this equation of like whether or not you should invest in something. So you define your goals. Once you know what you want, cool. Then you identify the obstacles and roadblocks that are preventing you from achieving those goals faster. And then if you're presented with a product or service that you believe can help you overcome those obstacles and reach your goals faster, it doesn't really matter the monetary price of it. It's the value that you're going to get from that. So is overcoming this obstacle worth the $2,000 for you? Like, would you rather have $2,000 or overcome this obstacle? Right? Like, if you look at it from that perspective, it's just like a light bulb moment. Like, of course, I'm going to pay for that, because once this obstacle is overcome, I now have the capacity to make more money and improve and scale. Right? So, what first got you into the coaching world? I imagine it was fitness.
Yeah, definitely fit. I mean, I was in like 7th grade, and my mom she was in. So this is crazy. I don't know if I told you, but both my parents met in the circus as acrobats.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so we're like cool stuff. But they were all into health and wellness. So when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, I got my first personal trainer. So like my mom was like, you're gonna learn young, and it was like, so that was my first. And I would ask for like Christmas. I was like, can I get some more sessions with my trainer? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope my kids are like this one day, you know? But that was my first coach. And from there, it was just like, I've always just had this. So adventure is one of my core values, and so is curiosity. So like curiosity is so big. So like, I just wanted to learn. Yeah. And that coach was like more on kind of the bro bodybuilding stuff. And that's great. And then as I got into,
well, especially when you're first starting out, like that's all you want anyway.
Just like, so you just want to do some bicep curls, you know what I mean? And do some bench press.
Yeah.
Look jacked. And then I got into CrossFit when I started going to college. Same thing, as I needed a coach. I just wanted to learn how to do that. Then from there, I stuck to weightlifting. So I was like, I gotta get better weightlifting, which is like where I went from like 2013 through 2019. I was like competing and coaching. Actually, I kept coaching until 2020. Weightlifting.
Competing in
weightlifting. So snatch, clean and jerk.
You say competing in coaching.
Yeah, I was competing and coaching.
Oh, competing and coaching. I thought you said competing in coaching. I was like, is there a coaches competition? Like, who's the best coach?
Who's got the best cues? No, but that was like my second spot for getting coaching. So like I worked with people like Travis Mash, Glenn Penlay. He was he was my coach. I don't know if I had anybody else that people would know, but so I was investing in all of that type of coaching. And then I got into like nutrition stuff too, and hired also more coaches there. And then it wasn't until like I graduated PT school where I needed to learn about business. But I just found that like every time I invested in a coach, I learned that thing way faster. It's like because before that, I'd pick up a book and I'd read the whole book and I'm like, I still don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Or then I go to YouTube and I just like scroll and just keep like watching videos. I'm like, all right, they told me a fragment of what they do, right? But like, that's where like coaching and masterminds and even like some courses, like here has how to get from A all the way to Z, right? It's like here's the entire thing. Versus like a book, kind of, but it doesn't always apply to you. A course, it can do that, but coaching is like, hey, you're here. Yeah, it's like we're gonna do this journey together, and you don't get that in a YouTube video. You don't get that in any of those things,
Well, I'll say that you can. However, it will take significantly longer.
Yes.
More time, more energy, more stress, but it's free, right? So that's what everybody starts with. They read the books, they listen to the YouTube videos, the podcasts, which are all great. But if you're stressing yourself out and that's taking more time away from you, which really is our only non-renewable resource, time, right? So if you'd rather sacrifice your time and learn it on your own versus hire a coach who you have to pay money instead of, some time, but it drastically shortens the amount of time. To me, it just seems like a no-brainer. Like, of course, I'm going to hire this person to help me achieve my goals faster.
Totally. Especially with if we're talking business, man, like, and how I support people, the amount of resources, like not free things, the amount of time that I put into the resources that I give people, and they're just like, hey, here's a simple Google sheet you can use. And they're like, oh my gosh. It's like, yeah, this thing took me 10 hours just to build this simple Google sheet. You don't know that, right? Like, you don't know any of that, but you're like, oh, wow. Oh, and there's 50 other things that I can use that all probably took 5 or 10 hours of my time to build. And you're paying, like, you're getting all of it. Like that amount of time or even funnels. Like, there's some people that I work with that I just like give them like a snapshot of all my funnels and emails and follow-ups. And they're just like, go just like put your own words in there. That shit took so much time, but you're right. Like, they could totally do all that on their own. And if they want to, and they feel called to, go for it. Right. But like, if you want to get somewhere in 5 years, or do you get there in a year? Like, it's that big of a difference. You know what I mean? Like,
do you notice that when you give people the free resources that they don't appreciate them as much or take as much action versus if they were to pay for them?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because like
totally,
all the information is really for free out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And this is a good example that I give. Like, if you attend a weekend seminar for free, and it's got a great lineup of speakers, all the information is great, but it's a free seminar versus that same seminar with the same information that you pay $10,000 for.
Yeah, I'm gonna take notes.
You're gonna fucking take
I'm
notes.
like, can I film this? Can I audio this?
You're gonna make sure that you're gonna squeeze as much value from that as possible. So it's interesting, like human psychology, like how we derive the value based on the price of the thing.
Yeah.
So this is a good topic to get into, because I started similar to you, charging bare minimum for personal training clients, like $200 a month type thing. And now we're both high ticket.
Yeah.
Correct. So let's talk about the importance of one, valuing ourselves, and then also charging more and providing more value.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in the online space at the start and was just writing exercise programs, my first one was like maybe $25, $50, like I didn't know the value. I was like, oh, it's just a program. And I think it was just a program. It wasn't that coaching. It wasn't like the transformation. It was just providing the thing. And if you're going to get into any business or like charging or coaching, it's like, it's helping the person make the transformation. And that's where the value is. Like you said, the roadblock, like, it's like, you have a goal, here's a roadblock. Let's get you over the roadblock. What's that value worth? Not here's a plan, here's this thing that you can just like go, or here's this tool or template.
Here's
like,
a few tips for you.
You're like, I can go find a free tool or template online.
Yeah.
But like, I don't care about the tool or template. Even if you're a coach listening, like there's a lot of, there's a lot of check practitioners. These guys, I love them. And when they market, like, they're like, oh, I just do check stuff. And they like just talk about all this stuff. I'm like, dude, your person is experiencing shoulder pain. Get them, everything you say should be shoulder pain. And the check stuff that you're using is the tool or template that you're going to help that person with. It's the tool that helps them get the thing over, get over the thing they're experiencing. So if you can start marketing and selling the transformation, it's a lot easier. And it makes sense for why you charge high ticket. But if you're not, and you're just going to compete for, the asset or the tool, then you're going to be at the same price as somebody else, if not lower.
So let's talk about how to I work with a lot of clients who want to use their experience and their own personal development journey to help then coach other people in their same situation. So one of the things that they're struggling with and like thinking about is how to go from what we were talking about, their 9 to 5, to what they ultimately want to do, coaching. So how do you recommend people go from their side hustle to making this an actual business? Yeah,
there's typically 4 steps. I have like 4 steps that I take people through, and there's so many ways to do it. But the first step would be, what is that transformation, and getting clear on what is the transformation I provide to a specific group of people. So like if you help real estate agents, and what are they struggling with? Too many times people do this though. It's like they have a service or they have a skill set and they try to package this skill set, which is wrong. It's not wrong. You could do that, but what's better is, can I identify a market or a group of people that have a specific problem? I'm going to solve that problem. So like, for instance, I've got one client who he does story work. So he's part of the enlifting community and stuff like that, but he was trying to sell story work.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, you can't do that. And what he found was, he's like, oh, a lot of people that are liking my content and talking to me are talking about the word procrastination. Like, they're procrastinating. That's the problem they have. So all of his content, he just started talking about like helping people break through procrastination. And when he did that, more people started messaging him. He got on more calls. He was able to charge higher prices. Like, I think 2 weeks ago, he had a $5,500 paid in full offer. And it's like, dude, I just made like 10K in my second month. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. But it was because he got really clear. He didn't package it as, I do life coaching or I do blank coaching. It's like, I help people overcome procrastination so that they can live their fullest life. Or I don't know exact, I just made that up, but but it is breaking through procrastination. So finding a group of people who have a specific problem and then solve that problem, that's like step 1.
Yeah. Turns out people care about their own problems. Like, nobody cares that you're a life coach. Like, what is the specific problem that you solve, getting clear on that. That's something that I've been struggling with as well, because I'm like a holistic lifestyle specialist. Well,
Right.
okay, that's cool. Well, what does that mean for me?
Yeah.
Right? So getting clear on who you help and what you help them with. That's step one. Yes.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Step
two.
one. Yeah. Step one, getting clear. Step two is developing like a way to enroll people. So like a sales process. So we've got the offer, it's packaged. Just general recommendations is like anywhere from, like, I think getting started anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, whatever you feel slightly uncomfortable with, that's packaged for like 3 to 6 months. Great starting point. Like, I mean, some people, it's like, hey, let's just do $1,000 for 3 months. It's like 333, I think, or something like that. That's on the lower end, but like, if that's the first time you've ever asked for $1,000, like you can have a transformation within an 8 to 12 week period for that. So it's like, if that's uncomfortable for you, cool, you can start there. But typically between $1,000 to $5,000 in value for that first step. Once we've got that dialed in, sales process, how do I enroll people in a way that feels like authentic to me and doesn't feel like pushy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also part of that is like booking calls. So how do I book calls and how do I enroll people? And a lot of that's done now just from like DMs, Instagram, Messenger, text message. Like there's so much you can do without even getting on a call with people. But if you do decide you want to work with somebody, it's best it's really hard to sell a high ticket. It's not hard. I have some clients who can like sell high ticket $1,000 plus just via the DMs. But typically they have like a training that they like send them. It's really just a pitch. It's like, hey, here's my training.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but yeah. So once the offer's created, step 2 would be learning how to book calls and learning how to present your offer in a non-salesy and just like conversational way.
Does that come before the structure of the coaching / program?
I would say that's still step 1. So like crafting the offer.
Okay.
So like that's still kind of part of that process of like, what's my delivery and fulfillment look like?
Mm-hmm.
That's still part of step 1.
Okay.
So you got to get clear on that before you sell it.
Well, not necessarily. I sold my first client before I had anything on like actually crafted. And so for me, it was like, okay, I got to do this now.
Yeah. Right.
And I had a timeline, so I had to grade it by then. So for me, that works to add that, level of pressure. Cause for me, I'm working on breaking this, but for me, I need that like deadline, and I'll wait up until the day before and then I'll just do it and get it done. I do this with packing, like for traveling. Like I literally always pack the day of, even if it's a morning flight.
Yeah, I do too. It's like 3 a.m. I'm like, I'm good. I'll wake up like 15 minutes early. I just throw shit in a bag and go.
Yep. So that's what I did with the coaching. Is like, I had an idea. I had it all in my head of like what it was going to be. And so that's what I told them, like the structure of it on the call, but I didn't actually have anything physical or digital to send them. So
totally. Yeah. And to go off of that, I agreed. I did the same thing. So when I say like having the offer packaged, like you said, you kind of had an idea of the steps. So typically like part of the offer creation when I help people is like, can you write like the 3 to 5 steps someone's going to take when they sign up with you? And that's all you need. It's like, all right, step 1, we're going to do this. Okay. So like my process, right? Step 1 is we're going to package the offer. We're going to create a price. Step 2 is we're going to create a sales system. Step 3, we're going to do marketing. Step 4, we'll do blank. Like I have like a system and process, but like I sold all that stuff without like having videos or like anything. I was like, I know week 1, I'm going to make what I just said. But that's kind of part of the offer is like, at least just having, you don't need to have a video course. I would not recommend having like a video course, like all set up beforehand. I mean, I know some of the guys like in the Freedom Builders do that. And I think parts of that, but I would wait because you're going to learn. Like I launched with my current offer. I sold it in October and right now we're in March, sold it in October, built it in November, December. And then in February, I went back and started changing stuff because I was like, okay, after I put people through it, I'm like, it's the whole here. Okay, I got to like tweak that. All right. And so like there will be a final day at some point, maybe that I like go through and like really professionalize it, like have like professional videos. Right now, all of them are Looms. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like Looms and walking through resources and people are getting results.
Yes. Note to any new coaches out there, when I first sold the Captain's Lifestyle program, it was very basic. Like I opened up Google Slides and it was just like a black background with like white text on it, like just very basic PDF style thing, and they got great results. And since then, it's been upgraded. I think a lot of new coaches fall into the trap that it has to be perfect. Like it has to look like this, nice, Kajabi course, like what Freedom Builders does, which is fantastic.
It's great.
I don't recommend starting there.
No.
Like make sure what you do and the transformation that you're offering like actually works first. Like just get the bare minimum.
Get the result. Yeah. So it's like, and that's ultimately like, and when you do part 1 and part 2 of what I was sharing earlier, it's like, just promise the result and get the result. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I mean, ideally you're like, hey, this is 3 months. It'll take this long, blah, blah, blah. But you're helping them with the promise they set. Like, because a good sales conversation is like, hey, what's your goal? What's in your way? Cool. Let's do that over 3 months. Let's help you get over that roadblock. Like, it's not hard, right? But it's like, what's your roadblock? Let's do this together. Cool. If it takes a little bit longer, like I've had some people, like one of the first clients I had who I like helped teach digital marketing to, I was like, hey, it's going to cost $1,000. I think it's going to take about 3 months, but let's just see. Right. But I promised him to help him solve his problem. It's going to be $1,000. How long does it take? It could take 4 weeks, could take 12. But I didn't know because I was so new to it. But I was like, what do you think that's valued at? I think it's valued at 1,000. He's like, me too. Cool. Let's just go ahead and work on this project and solve the problem.
Solve problems.
Because then if you do that, then it's like, do I need to have a 12-week program? Or is this like, you know what I mean? Like when you go to a lawyer or attorney, like, hey, I need this contract. Cool, it's this. Like it's not, oh, well, I mean, some of them have like bill per hour, but typically it's like when you go to a service, it's what am I getting done? Okay, that project is going to cost this.
Interesting. Yeah. Sell the solving of the problem.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So how long, what is that valued for you to do? What's it valued for the other person? Because I think what we tend to do is like, how many hours is that going to take me? Dollars per hour, right? And then we get stuck in that loop of like, oh, my hourly rate's, $200 an hour. It's like, well, how many hours do I imagine it'll be? And then you just like either under or overestimate it almost every time, So you win some of those and then you lose some of those. Versus like, yeah, I can help you solve that problem. It's going to cost this.
So step 3, marketing.
Step 3, marketing. So once you have your offer, step 1, and you kind of have a general framework of how you would fulfill on that. Step 2, sales, learning how to book calls and how to enroll people. Step 3 is like, how do I generate interest and leads to book more calls? So typically like to start, that's for a lot of people, let's just start and by like, pulling out your phone. Who on your phone is somebody who you think could be interested, and just start conversations with them. And from there, just see where those conversations go. Like that's step 1, it's easiest. And then, all right, well, add to that, I'm gonna go to Instagram. I'm gonna go see other people who follow me. Is there anybody else in here who's also like in this ideal demographic that I can start a general conversation with, and then start a transition and see if there's any like things that they're experiencing. And then also learning like how to create content, both like organically and paid. That's step 3. It's like just getting dialed in. And if you do it right, like by the end of step 3, you can book about a call a day. And that takes probably about 90 days for you to like do the things consistently every single day. But if you do that and you reach out to enough people every single day, you can start booking like a call a day. And if you top on 5 calls in a week, let's say like a little less than half sign up, then that's 1 or 2 new clients every week. And if you're doing high ticket, that's perfect. That's a really easy amount just for like you. If you decide to build a team, you're gonna need to get into doing ads where you can like sign more people so you can pay a team. But yeah, most people can just do that and be fine.
I want to come back to sales and conversations, but first, what's step 4?
Step 4 is now just like professionalizing that whole process and building systems and automations.
Now you make it pretty.
Yeah, now you make it pretty. Now you can focus on the website, the sales funnels, the text message campaigns, the email campaigns. But dude, like I built multiple 6-figure businesses before it had like a really nice website or like any of that stuff. It's like, cool, well, this is fine. Like I can do a lot of this just by being on Instagram and talking to people in Messenger. So it's like, we don't need to have all the fancy sales funnels and stuff. It looks cool and it makes us feel good, but like until you're generating like until your business in general has generated at least $10,000, you don't need a website, bro. You don't need a website. I mean, You could even debate that you probably don't even really need like an LLC, all that stuff. Like it's probably good to have that, but like you could definitely get by and still make 5 or 10K before you're like, I'm going to go all in and like actually professionalize the business. And like, yeah, because all that stuff just slows down your speed of getting clients and like starting.
And
you know?
I know that from personal experience. That was the shiny object syndrome. Like I wanted to make sure my logo was perfect and the website looks good and like all the things. I just wanted them to look aesthetically pleasing, thinking that, oh, hey, this guy looks professional. I'm going to sign up with him as a coach, but they don't necessarily give a shit about that. Right. So I had definitely fallen into that trap for sure.
All my stuff's still Canva. Like I went to Canva and was like,
Canva's great.
Logo. And I just found like a logo. I'm like, cool. And I took it and I just changed the logo name. And it looks cool. It looks like a little arrow that's like going up in a circle. But legit, it's just off Canva. It's not trademarked. I don't give a shit. Like it's probably not going to be there forever. So like at a certain point, I'll probably want to have a better logo and actually trademark it. But I was like, no, this will do until I'm at 7 figures. Once I'm there, then I'll think about that stuff. But I'm not going to focus on that right now. Like a logo or even a name. I got a name, but it's not trademarked. Like there is another trademark out there for that name. Someone could just say, hey, stop using this name. Like, okay, fine, I will. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone like me who did get caught up in making sure everything looked pretty and had the right name and the right logo and all those things?
Man, honestly, I think people just kind of have to go through that because I did too, dude. I did too when I first started. I was like out money. Like when I graduated college, I started in 2015 is when I started my first online business. And I did the same thing. I bought business cards. I bought a logo. I did all this stupid shit. Like, and I think people just need to go through it. And then after their first business, maybe their second business, they have a real business. Like, oh, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people do just gotta like, just learn. And if you want to, just limit yourself. Don't spend like more of you could get all that stuff for like $100, you know, but don't buy a professional. Don't spend over $1,000 until you've made money. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like I said, it's that shiny object and it's fun. And it looks cool, and you know you can post it on Facebook, and your mom's like, "Go, son! I'm so proud of you!" Like, and your grandmother can too. But yeah, people aren't gonna. No one cares except for you.
Yes, yes. Man, that's the truth. Okay, let's talk sales and conversations because I know that this is a area that a lot of especially new coaches struggle with. Is that they feel that the sales process is too salesy and they don't want to sell to people who are asking for their services.
It's wild, bro.
It's like,
it's wild. I know. I think it, and again, this is another thing that I think as you become more, you go more in entrepreneurial like stuff, you just realize that mindset's going to really limit your ability to serve. Like if I'm selling is serving, like it's like if the first act of someone committing in general, they have to commit to themselves. And by the act of selling or signing someone up, someone is committing to themselves and they're also committing to you to overcoming the obstacle, which is like, we should celebrate that. You know what I mean? And I think, I think we sometimes like, oh, I just spent money instead of like, I just spent money on myself. Let's go. Right. So like I've helped some people rework their offer a little bit to where it's like, even in their Instagram bio, they've changed it to where I help, like I've got one client who helps Christian women. She's like, I help Christian women invest in themselves. So like she's changing the way that she even thinks about sales, where it's like, instead of them making a decision to work with you or not, it's making a decision of, do I want to invest in myself? Do I want to invest in my health? Right. So it's like, we need to change the perspective of helping people invest in themselves versus like helping people pay you. Right.
What is the point of money? The point of money is to accumulate, money to make your life easier, right? To invest in yourself. So if you're hesitating to sell your product this is a whole nother conversation. One, you should fucking believe like 100% that your product will get the client the result that they're looking for. If not, then yes, sales is fucking salesy. Like you're trying to convince them that this is the right thing, even though it might not be. But that aside, if you believe that your product is the best thing for this person, it becomes your duty essentially to help them see that. So I don't view sales calls as like salesy whatsoever. It's like, hey, I'm on this call to help give you the power to invest in yourself. Like I want to see you, I want to help you overcome this obstacle that you're facing, whether that's with me or somebody else. I don't care. I just want to help you along the process. Right. Mm-hmm. So what are some of your strategies or I don't like the term like sales scripts. It shouldn't feel like a script at all, but what are some of the things that you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I mean, especially for coaching, if it's high ticket, doing a 2-call enrollment process. So essentially call 1 is just to connect and like get to know the person rather than going straight in for like a 1-call like pitch. Because a lot of times when people, especially with coaching, because sometimes like even coaching, like I'm unsure of exactly what you do. So like that first kind of 15-minute call or 30-minute call is like hopping on and just as the coach setting the intention. Hey, this is the intention of today's call. This is not a sales call. I'd love to get to know you. I'd love for you to get to know me. And if we both see there's an opportunity for us to work together, we'll set up a second call where we can go over more of my different offers and options for you. How's that sound? Cool. That gives them like the confidence of like, if you're selling to businesses, a 1 call is fine because they know they're on a sales call, right? Like they're like, I'm looking for a solution to a business problem, but give it to me now. But like for B to C people, typically a 2-call one is just more relationship like driven. And also coaching is very relationship driven. So that's often easier too, to even get the sign up because somebody knows when they're coming on to the second call that they're going to choose to work with you or not. And most of the time, if they don't want to work with you, they'll cancel before the call. Mm-hmm. So at least this has been my experience is that like when we have those 2 calls, like people, even for me, I know if I'm going to purchase before I hop on a call most of the time with people, right? Especially on a 2 call. If I have a 15-minute call, oh, I like this person. Cool. I want to hear their offer. I'm more than likely going to sign up because I've already said yes twice. I said yes to the first call and I said yes to the second call. Then I was also saying yes by showing up. Mm-hmm. So like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, it's just, all right, what's the price going to be? You know what I mean? What's the price and time commitment going to be? And are you flexible or are you rigid on that?
What's the investment?
Yes. Yeah. Price, not price. It's the investment. You're right. Correct.
Yep. So this is what you help coaches do, correct? Like structure all this and you help them with the systems? Yeah,
structure that. So that 4-step process, like craft the offer, learn how to sell it, learn how to book more calls, both organically and paid, and then learn how to automate it with systems. And then eventually, like once you've built the systems and processes, if you want to build a team, cool. You can just show your processes. Hey, this is how we do things. Cool. It's most people who I'm working with right now are in that startup phase though, like under 10K. There's a few who are above, but I think a lot are in that like 2 to 5K, like really, really excited to get to that 10K.
That sounds tremendously beneficial. Like that sounds exactly like what I needed when I first started.
That's what I needed. I think that's why I created it. I think that's why most coaches start. They're like, dude, I got started. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why we have offers. It's like, man, if I only had this like 5 years ago, where would I be now? You know?
Where can people find more about that?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Matt Shiver. Also my website, mattshiver.com. And then, pretty much most of the social media platforms at Dr. Matt Shiver on YouTube, LinkedIn. I don't know if it's also LinkedIn, but, and then Facebook too.
Cool. All right. 2 more questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
What are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, right now, this year is a year of growth. Like I just launched this new offer in November. So this year is building a team. So I just hired someone to help me with lead gen. So booking calls, they started 2 weeks ago. I'll be hiring a coach next month. And then I'll be hiring someone to help me with sales. Like
a coach to help
fulfill
your clients in business. Okay.
To help my clients, just like with weekly check-ins, onboarding, stuff like that. And then having sales probably Q2, Q3. We'll see. So just like, being able to build a business, like, cause I've been a freelancer kind of doing like things with me and some contractors, and actually to have like a team, I'm really excited to build a team. I'm also a little nervous. Like to be honest, like, it's a little nerve wracking, but also like really excited because I know it's going to be able to impact more people.
What are you nervous about? The team building aspect.
Yeah, I want to say the team building. It's the being not responsible, but paying other people, like putting them on salary, right? So either putting them on salary or having them on a consistent retainer that they're working for me like full time. So it's like, all right, I don't say nervous, but there's a little bit more pressure because in the past it's like a project comes in, I'm like, all right, let's outsource that to a contractor. And the contractor has like 20 other jobs. But as I build, it's like, I want a full-time person who's gonna help me with lead gen, a full-time person who's gonna help me coach, a full-time person who's going with sales. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a 4-person team, and that should be plenty to get me to like low 7 figures, which is perfect for me. I don't want like a massive business, but I do need full-time. So moving away from the contractor outsource model to like internal building a team. So I guess there's more pressure to just have like consistent finances to do that, because with contractor, if I don't have that, or if I didn't have that, I could just do the projects myself. But as I build a team, it's like, no, like they need to be financed and taken care of. So
yeah. I like to say there is no pressure, only practice.
Yeah.
However, when the pressure is based on other human beings' livelihood, right, then that's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah.
Right? So I can absolutely see that. And also, if we do a little enlifted work here, the nervous feeling is very similar, if not exactly the same, to the feeling of excitement.
100%.
Just how we're looking at it, right? Yeah. So it's like what ifing the bad stuff. If you, you're thinking about hiring all these people, and what if I can't pay them, and what if this fails, and I have to let them go, versus, hey, what if I hire these people and I fucking crush it and I'm able to give them a raise? Like then it's just turned from nervousness to fuck yeah, let's go. Yeah.
100%.
So these little mindset shifts, they're profoundly impactful. All right, last question. What does thriving mean to you?
Man, thriving. Automatically when you said that, I thought of just like the way that I feel. So like, I think thriving is like healthy. It's the first thing, healthy and vibrant, that came up. Say that. And then also like living in fulfillment. So like living in feeling like what you're doing is contributing back to the world. Yes. And like the greater health of the world. Yes. So your personal health and like the world's health.
Yeah. My purpose is to make thriving standard.
Yeah.
So I got a little sticker for you.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah. That's my goal, is essentially to make everybody healthier and more fulfilled. You fucking nailed it. And
I love that.
If you are an aspiring coach and you're looking to help individuals who were in your situation, something that you overcame, I'm telling you right now, I would have absolutely gone to Dr. Matt Shiver, to, what is it called? Online.
The Growth Accelerator is my core offer.
Growth Accelerator with the Canva logo.
The Canva logo, the name that's not trademarked. Yes. So, but so whoever's hearing this now, it could be something else.
Yeah, I absolutely would have gone to him, because it is exactly what I needed it sounds like it is exactly what I needed when first starting the coaching business. So if that's you, if you're in that position where you're thinking about starting, or you're just new to it, highly recommend checking out Dr. Matt Shiver's work. Your Instagram page is full of very valuable content that people can get for free. And it's like, hey, if you vibe with it, click the link in the bio. And what's the process like if somebody does want to sign up?
Yeah, you can click the link in bio. Right now, I just put a new training up there, but typically, if you put, either one, you can DM me, but you could also go to the training, and then I'm gonna text you, and then I'll be like, hey, dude, what's going on? You want to hop on a call? But no, like I won't pressure into a call, but I'll definitely just ask questions and just get clear on like what you're experiencing, and if I can help, then I'll extend that 15-minute call.
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
All right, Matt, thanks for coming on.
Boom.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.